In this video, I'm going to show you how to build your first lead magnet using AI and Notion so that you can start building your email list and growing your audience even if you're starting from scratch. Okay, Mystics, let me tell you how this changed everything for me. Just a couple months ago, I created my very first freebie using Canva and Notion and started to share it with my followers on Instagram. That one freebie or lead magnet turned into a funnel that pointed my audience on social media to an email list which had literally 0 subscribers, and it generated sales for me over time when I went on vacation to Portugal. This is exactly what a high-frequency business can look like. It can support both you and the human collective while you sleep. But here's the part no one talks about. You might be thinking,
what should I make? Or do I even need a funnel? Or what if no one downloads it?
So you stay stuck in your head or don't know where to start instead of creating the structures that we need to support the planet. That's you getting your superpowers out into the world. Now picture this. You take something that you've already created, whether it's a class you've taught in person, a post on Instagram, a YouTube video, and you turn it into a beautiful, delightful freebie that you can give to your audience in exchange for their email address. This helps you build your email list, warm up your audience to becoming potential customers, and it helps you create offers that you can sell in an automated way. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. I'm going to walk you through the exact process that I use, ChatGPT, Canva, and Notion, show you how to put it together like a pro so that you can share it with your audience. No overwhelm, no fluff, it's super simple. I highly recommend you watch this video end to end once and then follow along as you're creating your first freebie so you can get every step of the process done. Ready? Let's get into it. So first you need to think about what are you going to give your audience for free? Now, at an energetic level, it's really important that we talk about the free energy because sometimes this can create an energetic debt with people. If I'm giving a ton of services for free but not receiving anything in exchange, that's not necessarily a good thing. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Because if we're giving our audience a freebie or a lead magnet, what's actually happening is an exchange of chi. You are giving them a high value product for free in exchange for their email address or contact information. Now, if you think about it, nobody owes you anything, especially people's private information like emails, phone numbers. It's really important that we have an equitable exchange so that we're not creating some kind of debt here. Next, you need to think about what you're going to turn into your freebie. You obviously have some kind of superpower or expertise, and now you need to format it in a way that you can input into ChatGPT. You can use things like videos, Instagram or social media posts, or even if you have recordings from classes that you've taught in person, you can digitize those and put them in ChatGPT and work with them and turn them into a freebie. So I'm going to show you how to do this with a video that I made. So this is the video that I want to turn into a lead magnet. It's talking about the 7 dangerous mistakes that healers make. And I think this information is really important that a lot of people would resonate with. So I want to turn it into something that will provide value to healers and wellness practitioners in exchange for an email address. So one of the things I did here is I downloaded a Chrome extension that generates a YouTube transcript for free next to my video. Now, you can use other plugins like this if you have video content, but I also like to use Descript, which is an editing platform that also makes transcripts for videos. Regardless of how you do it, it's really up to you. But personally, I like to use Descript because of this export feature. You go to transcript, make sure it's plain text, copy to clipboard, and that just gives you a really, really nice, easy, pastable format that you can put into ChatGPT or your favorite LLM or large language model. So now that we have our transcript copied, now we're going to start with our freebie. I would like to create a freebie using this transcript from one of my YouTube videos. My target audience for this freebie are healers, wellness practitioners, and energy workers. So it's really important that you think about who your target audience is for your freebie. The more specific, the better. I want this transformation of the product to help the healer not make critical mistakes in their practice. The freebie or lead magnet should be delightful and a no-brainer when it comes to exchanging it for an email address. Now, if you're not sure what kind of format to make your freebie, this is a great opportunity to ask ChatGPT. Give me some examples of how I can frame or design this freebie as part of an email funnel. All right, so that way we're just going to start with guidance from ChatGPT and see what it recommends that will fit this content the most. So I'm going to paste my transcript here, which we can see, and then click go. Now let's see what Chat has to say. So here are 5 irresistible freebie formats, a design PDF mini guide. We also have a printable digital Notion template, checklist style, an interactive workbook. I think I like this one the most. Let's see. A short guided meditation with a companion PDF cheat sheet. Very cool. And then scripts and templates, a PDF or Notion doc. So even just off the bat, ChatGPT can give you some really good insights on how to take your content and format it in a way that might resonate with your audience if you tell the chat what your audience is. Okay, so I personally really like option 2. So we got a printable and digital Notion template, and we also have an interactive workbook. When it comes to freebies, I also think of the type of freebies that I like to receive when I sign up for someone's product or service. I'm a big fan of workbooks and interactive elements. I think having more engaging content is going to be a lot more valuable for the person receiving it, and it might differentiate you from others who might just give a simple Google document or checklist, which you often see a lot of digital marketers and content creators do. I like option 3. Let's create an interactive notebook that the healer can use to do a self-audit and whether or not they're making those mistakes. Also, let's give them some remediation or advice on what to do if they are making those mistakes. We don't want to shame them, but give them guidance on what to do differently. All right, let's see what Chat says. All right, the practical workbook for energy workers, healers, and wellness practitioners to reflect, recalibrate, and upgrade their healing practice with clarity and compassion. Cool. So we have a welcome page. We'll have a module format. So for example, we'll have a workbook page that will go over each mistake. We've got audit questions. We've got strategies for shifting it and even some journal prompts. Cool. I like this. Let's do this. So at the very end here, it's saying, are you ready to continue with mistake 2? Because we've got 7 total based on the YouTube video. What I'm actually gonna do is let's start with the welcome page, because that first moment when your target audience lands on your freebie, it's going to make a very important first impression. Since this is the first touch point for a lot of cold traffic or people who might not know who you are, it's really important that you delight them and give them that sense of who you are, what you're about, and what your work is going to do for them and their life. So let's spend a little bit more time on the welcome page. So we're literally going to tell Chat that. Let's spend more time on welcome page. And just as a nice hack, what you can do is you can dictate to ChatGPT if you, let's say, don't type as fast, or if you have a lot of ideas coming along, you can just very quickly do that. So let's do that and see. Okay, so let's spend more time on the welcome page before we go onto the mistakes, which will be each page of this Notion template. I really want to make a good impression for my audience. So let's first talk about what this guide is, who it's for. It should be catchy and clear and inspiring. But then I also want to explain to my audience how to use the guide, because a lot of people might have never heard of Notion, and you can save the workbook and do all these things, but they might not have any idea how to do that. Also, I want to explain to them how to use the self-audit or the prompts in the workbook to integrate into their life and their healing practice. All right, so now that I've described that, ChatGPT is going to turn that into a transcript, which will be text, and then we can just go ahead and paste it. Let's see what happens. So yeah, that's just another nice hack if you don't want to do so much typing. Cool, so looks like we have a header, what this guide is. I don't want to worry too much about wording and copy editing right now. It's more like, let's get the structure in place and then we can make it more aligned to our voice and the brand itself. All right, so it has who this is for, how to use the guide, how to move through the workbook, integration tips, final word. Okay, sure, I like that. So next what we're going to do is we're going to actually start building our freebie in Notion. So we're going to go to notion.so, and basically Notion is like a wiki. I have a paid Notion account. You don't have to have a paid Notion account. You can have one for free, but I use it all the time, so I just thought I'd pay for it. So I have a specific section here that is called public pages. And this is a signal to me that these are all of my public or external facing freebies, lead magnets, and other guides that I have throughout my digital products. So for example, this is my public AI course creation guide. This was the very first freebie I ever created in Notion, and it's also been my most successful one, which is pretty cool. So I think what I'm going to do is replicate what I have here because it has worked so far, and it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It's just a lot of text, some images, some emojis. A lot of people have gotten value out of it, which is great. So we're going to do something similar. So first, this is my master level Notion page, and we're going to add a page inside of that so that I know it's going to be a public Notion workbook. And going back to our ChatGPT, let's call it the energetic self-audit for healers. We'll start with that. We can always optimize it later. I like this tagline. I think it gives a good indication of what to do. So notice in Notion that there's this white box. I personally like to have a lot of room when building in Notion. So I'm going to click outside of it. And then now I have the page here under my public page. So I'm going to click into this. And now I just have this beautiful white space to work with. So what we're going to do is take this entire output here and copy it. There's this copy button at the bottom. You can also just highlight and copy paste. I actually think I prefer doing that so I don't copy the information that ChatGPT also gives you, like perfect, and all that stuff. So let's copy and paste it here. And notice the formatting is different when I literally copy and paste it versus typing it out like I did here. So let's get rid of that because I like these headings. I think they're really nice. Okay, so what this guide is, this isn't just a checklist, sacred mirror. Don't really love that. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, so first, one of the things we want to think about is who this is for. Let's actually take this. Let's make it a little bit more clear because I don't love just bullet point after bullet point of stuff. You kind of have to work with your AI and massage it so it gives you the output that you want, and really trust your intuition here. You know your audience best, you know your material best, so never just put out what ChatGPT does because it's probably not going to be very good, but it's a good starting point, and that's the difference. All right, so take this section and rewrite it into, this will go on the top, so it's super clear who this freebie is for and why it's going to be awesome for them. All right, and then here is that text I just copied. Okay, I like this already. This guide is for the healer, boom. That's what I want. Who is this for? It's for healers. And then it kind of goes into the problems that healers have, right? If you're offering energy work, holding space for others, wondering why your sessions don't always feel clean, this is for you. I love that. It's getting to the pain point, or this is what you might be struggling with. So we're gonna copy this. Let's get rid of this section. Let's put it here. I like that. Let's get one of these guys. All right, this guide is for the healer who gives their all, but still ends up drained. Cool, good for now. We can copy edit later. Now, what this guide is. Inside, you'll find 7 of the most common energetic mistakes that even the most gifted healers make, usually without realizing it. All right, This workbook is designed to help you protect your energy, elevate your session, stop burnout, strengthen, anchor, frequency. So getting into like this section, for example, what this freebie is to explain how it's going to solve your audience's problem. In other words, you have a solution. That's what the freebie is. And so you should explain how it's going to reduce that problem or that pain in their life. So stop burnout, strengthen your boundaries, etc., which is great. Okay, now we're gonna get into the how to use this guide. So this workbook is interactive and built inside Notion. We can even, let's say, link it. Let's just go to notion.sl. I guess just do that. I like linking stuff because it just makes it easier for the audience if they've never done it before. I also like to format things so that it's just like super clear what we're doing here. So I want this text color to be very obvious that it's a link. So we're gonna give it a blue background, and we bolded it too, which is cool. All right, so if you're new to Notion, here's how to get started. Now that we're getting into the details of this guide, I think it's really important to format it in a way so that it's clear and makes it more polished and professional. So we're gonna turn this into a call out and see how it just pops a lot more, right? I really love that. So you can use emojis and change it if you want. I like, let's see, maybe like something more energizing. Okay, and now we're gonna get into the how-to. So turn into a call out. So how to use this guide. I kind of like the book, but I also like the hands-on, like a hammer and a wrench. Okay, actually, how to use this. Let's call it this specifically. And it's not so much a guide. Actually, this is a good idea on how to use ChatGPT to help you. So I want to rename this freebie so it's compelling. It should have some SEO, search engine optimization considerations as well. Give me 10 titles indicating that it's actionable, i.e. a workspace, journal, planner, etc. Here's the current title. All right, so this is gonna give us some ideas to make it a little bit more compelling. The Healer's Energy Alignment Journal, the Energetic Audit and Reset Planner, the Healing Practice Detox Workbook, Protocol Planner, a Journal to Fix Them, Self-Audit Toolkit. I kind of like the word toolkit. The Workbook, Planner for Practitioners, Journal, etc. So you can see how even the title of your freebie brings up different energies at a mystical level, which is actually really freaking cool. I love that. But depending on what words you choose, you're going to share a different energy with your audience. So for me, this is like a time of self-reflection of, am I making these mistakes? How can I fix them? And what are some ways that I can help do that, right? So with that in mind, I think I like workbook probably the best, although toolkit's pretty cool too. Create some titles that have toolkit or workbook in them. I want to signal to my audience that they need to self-reflect on their healer practice, but we'll also have guidance on how to do that and make it better. Cool. All right, so what do we got? Frequency healing, personal toolkit. So I'm just reading these. Workbook. I don't love these. Include the wording self-audit in the title. The script, the main content of the workbook will talk about mistake. So take this into consideration. It's not quite there yet. You gotta like constantly tweak your AI, right? And a lot of iterations are usually a good thing. So don't be afraid to just like go at it and have fun. The Healer's Self-Audit Workbook, the Energetic Self-Audit Toolkit, Healing Practice Self-Audit Toolkit, Healing Self-Heal. Maybe self-audit isn't the right thing. Let's go back to like, what are we doing here? 7 mistakes to drain your power and how to fix them. All right. Here's the tagline. Do you have any suggestions for titles based on this. Not quite right. I don't know if I like self-audit here. Well, it does have it because I told it to. Healers self-audit workbook. I also worry that the word audit might be too confusing. So let's scrap the self-audit idea. I want the title to be clear, actionable, and solution-oriented. Clear that it's for healers, actionable and solution-oriented for fixing common healing mistakes. Give some title examples. So the reason why we're spending so much time on this is because your title of your freebie is basically going to be the marketing of your freebie, right? Like it has to be memorable, insightful. People have to know what it is immediately when they hear the words. And so that's why we're spending so much time. Even if, let's say we look back here at my other ones, your AI course creation guide, right? Instagram content planner for light workers. Like it's very, very clear. And that's why we want to make sure this is super clear. So what else do we got? Ooh, I kind of like this. Healing practice repair manual. Interesting. Only thing is, I don't know, are people like, do practices need repair? Sometimes. Let's see. The Healer's Fix It Guide. Clean energy guide. Stop the drain. Oh, I like this. The healing mistake recovery workbook. The pristine practice playbook. Power and pack. Heal without harm. Mistake-free healing. Okay. How about the healing mistake recovery workbook? I like it. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Let's see how it feels. So the energetic self-audit for healers or the healing mistake recovery workbook. Interesting. The only thing is I just have this thing around telling people like, you're making mistakes, you know, but sometimes they are. That's the thing. The healing mistake recovery workbook. You know, okay, we're gonna go with it. I think it's very clear, it's catchy, and it has like a punch to it, an energetic punch, which is kind of what we want because I really have seen healers make these mistakes over and over, and it can literally be harmful to people. And so that is actually like the right energy behind it. And then the recovery part is more about like, it also has like a healing element to it, like recovery, right? Okay, I like it. Okay, so here we are. And now what we're gonna do, let's go back to our guide. So we've got some instructions on how to do it. Now we're getting into how to use the workbook itself, because that's what we call it, right? Yes, a workbook. Perfect. So how to use this Notion workbook. We have to make sure we have similar nomenclature or words throughout our freebie. Okay, so so this is a little confusing, how to use this Notion workbook, how to move through the workbooks. I want it to be really clear about like what is Notion and then what the workbook is. And what's actually more important is the workbook because that's what the freebie is. So let's actually move this entire section up. We're gonna copy this entire thing. We're gonna put it all the way up here. And I love this drag and drop feature in Notion. It's actually like really freaking cool and makes editing really easy. Okay, how to use this workbook. So each page in this workbook covers one common energetic mistake that healers often make. You'll be invited to reflect, shift, and integrate. Cool. And then how to use Notion. Let's just make it really clear that this is like Notion, right? And let's make this really clear that this is the workbook. So maybe we'll do like a pencil. Actually, let's do a book. I like the open book thing. And it's not a guide, it's a workbook, right? Cool. Let's make this a little... Formatting's important, especially if people are going to make this, like if this is going to be a paid product or a low ticket item. But you can always already see like some really beautiful steps in formatting here. So integration tips after sessions. I love this. Yep, I love this. Bring your calendar to review this self-audit. Block time in your calendar to journal review. Yeah, we'll keep that. Yeah, I like this. It's important for healers to do integration co-creation. It is true. I have literally made all of these mistakes. So that's another thing. ChatGPT will create content, but as an author, as a creator, as a mystic, as a light worker, it's really important that what you share is honest and true. So read everything that ChatGPT puts out there and make sure it resonates with you and it represents your voice, because it is representing you, but it is a co-creation, right? See it as a tool, not a replacement for your voice. All right, cool. What we're going to do next is start to make the pages that are going to go into the Notion template. So first, what we're going to do is make sure we're in our Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook. We're going to add a page inside of it. And for now, we're just going to call it Module 1, or maybe even Mistake 1. And we'll just do some stuff here to get it going. Now, one thing I want to call out, which I love about Notion, is when you make a page, it will automatically show up immediately in Notion. So it becomes interactive, which is really cool. And this is, I think, why it makes such a great freebie. It's more than a PDF. It's something you can make your own and add some interactive elements to it. So now we're ready to add our content. So let's go back to chat. Okay, I'm ready to make the first page of the workbook. I went with the title, The Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook. So we need to make sure that each page of the workbook is going to be consistent throughout each and every page. There should be 7 in general. In general, I want each page of the workbook to invite the audience to reflect and have self-audit questions related to the mistakes in the video. I want prompts to help them shift these mistakes with practical and high frequency advice, and enable them or help them integrate this information with a journaling prompt that they can apply at each lesson. So let's try that and start just with module or mistake 1. Okay. I find at a creative level, it's sometimes easier to say things out loud. Other times it's just easier to type. Depends on your style. All right, let's see what chat comes up with. So again, this is coming directly from my YouTube video, right? Mistake 1, using your own energy to heal. So this is some background about what's happening. I love that, why it matters. Self-audit questions. Shift this with high frequency practice. I love this. This is so good. We're just gonna copy it. Okay, make sure we're in mistake number 1. So good, I love it. So we're just gonna reformat this. So make sure this is the heading. One thing I really like about Notion is you can add icons, and we'll talk about this quickly on why it matters. So first, let's just give it an emoji. This is the emoji that chat. And now, if you look here on the left, this emoji showed up in my guide or my workbook. So let's actually do the same here. We're gonna add an icon, and for now, let's just make it something kind of cute. Maybe we'll do that. Cool. And I like that consistency because we have our icon here and our icon here, and that indicates to our audience this is a workbook. Cool. All right, so notice again, we have some ChatGPT language that we need to get rid of. So let's delete that. And now I'm going to pause the video and reformat this so that you can see the formatting when it's done. Okay, now I have formatted my Notion page here so that it's beautiful. There's very clear sections, and I've even given some interactive elements here that the person can use when they're working in their own Notion workspace. Now, there's an important step here that I want to show because I think it's really great when it comes to making a beautiful freebie in Notion. And that is to add your cover photo. So if you go to the very top here, there's a button that says Add Cover. And there's a few things that you can do. One, it will just randomly populate a photo, but we actually want to choose a photo that will match really nicely with our energy of our freebie. So just to give you a practical example about how to change this, let's actually go to our first mistake and add the cover here. We're going to change cover, and you can upload a new photo that you have, or you can use a free photo from the Unsplash stock photo library. So Unsplash is a really cool website that gives you access to freely available photos that you can use on Notion. These have copyright permissions for you to reuse, not resell, but it also gives artists a lot of visibility on their work, which is great too. So I love that Unsplash is integrated directly in Notion. What you can do is just simply search for an image that you think fits or matches the energy or the frequency of the page that you're working on. So in this case, we're looking at a mistake of using your own energy to heal. So I might start with something that is like maybe a wilting flower, potentially. That might like give a pretty clear indication of what's going on. But I also don't want it to be ugly either. But I want it to really like hit home that healers have to be aware of this. So let's try this wilty rose, and you can see here that it doesn't quite fit right. So let's change the cover, or actually, excuse me, reposition. And we're going to move this so that it's really clear. So that is actually a really beautiful image. I love how detailed it is and high resolution it is. This is why this feature is just so cool, and you don't even have to pay for the stock photo, which is great. Now, my emoji doesn't necessarily match the vibe of this, so I might want to reconsider how this could fit. So maybe we could try like, what flower options do we have? I could just use a wilty rose. I think that kind of gives the vibe pretty clearly, right? If you use your own energy, this is what happens. So that's kind of interesting, and I really like the feel in it. It makes it thoughtful. Now, the other thing you can do is add a photo that you feel needs to be professional in some way. So oftentimes I will upload my own professional photos that I think have a better fit for the vibe of the workspace. So for example, a website I really like to use is called DepositPhotos. This is a platform that is very similar to Unsplash, but the difference is you have to pay for access or pay to purchase photos, but the plans are quite affordable. What I really like is that you can use these photos for commercial use, and you can even resell them in some cases, depending on the licensing. Also, I just really like to support artists, and I think by paying for artists and their work, it just makes the world a better place. So that's another option. Anyway, let's say we wanted to do something similar for our image here, but make it a little bit more customized. So let's do something similar. Wilted rose petals, and see what comes up. So there's a lot more choices of photos if you use a paid platform like DepositPhotos than what you might get in a free stock library like Unsplash. Now, these are still super gorgeous and beautiful, and the energy vibe, it can be really different depending on what you choose. And personally, I have a lot of fun looking for beautiful images and putting them on my products. It's just part of the creative process that I think is amazing. One thing I often do to test an image to make sure that I like it is I will take a screenshot of the image that has a watermark, and then I will upload it into the area where I'm uploading things. In this case, let's do it on mistake number 1. And this is just a screenshot, right? And it'll give me a pretty good indication of what it will look like without having to pay for it, because I have spent a lot of money on photos that I never ended up using. So this is a nice solution to that. So this definitely has a different vibe. I think it's quite pretty. I like it a lot more, actually. There's like more vibrance, and I don't know. But just for the sake of this video, I'll show you how to do this full stop or end to end. So let's say I want to do this photo in particular. It's beautiful, but it's also inferring the energy behind the page, which is, hey, if you give away your energy as a healer, you're gonna wilt. You're gonna have your energy drained, and that's not something we want. So I'm going to download this with the standard license, and what I want to do, just as a general best practice, is it really helps to have to save your stock photo immediately before you forget. And believe me, I have forgotten this so many times. So what I'll often do is I go straight to where I downloaded the photo. I'm using a Mac, but you can do the same thing in Windows. I go to my folder where I have a folder just for stock photos, and you can see that I have a lot of folders that have different aesthetics or types of photos so that I can keep myself organized. Because once you buy a photo, it's nice to reuse it again. So in this case, we have flowers. So I'm going to just simply move this into flowers, and now it's categorized. I don't have to worry about it, and there it is. So let's go back to our Notion page and let's change the cover again, but with our professional photo that we paid money for. So I'm just gonna go back to where that is, which is here. Let's open it. Oh, actually, when things like this happen, I inputted upload file, but nothing happened. Notion won't tell you, but it won't load the photo if the file is more than 5 megabytes. So I think what's happening here is this file is too big, it won't show up, but that's okay. We have an easy solution to that. Now, what you can do is you can do this in Canva or Photoshop, but what I'm gonna do, just because I have Photoshop up and running, is I'm going to open my new photo, and we're going to save this so that it's not 5 megabytes large, okay? And there's a couple ways to do it. First, you can go to image size and you can resize it. Actually, let's go to File, Export, Export As, and we can play with the settings here to make it smaller. So over here, wow, this is a 14 megabyte size file. So it's really high quality, which is amazing, actually. So we're gonna experiment with this in a couple of ways because depending how we resize it will change how it ultimately looks on Notion. So first, let's just scale it back like 50%. So we're gonna make it 50% smaller. And that gets us immediately at 4.5 megabytes, which is great. It's under the 5 megabyte threshold. So let's go ahead and export this. Let's put it in the same folder. I'm just gonna call it 50%. So that's one way to do it. Another way you can do it is you can literally crop the image itself. So I'm only gonna use this part of the photo because I really want that like lush rose with the full rose and the petal arc, the spiral. I think it's really lovely, but I really want high definition. So we are going to maybe put it around, maybe we'll put it here. I think that will probably be what will come up on Notion. So let's export this, make sure it's under 5 megabytes. Ooh, so close, so close. Maybe if we make it 90%, will that get us to 5? Ah, yes, it does. What about 95? Ooh, no cigar. All right, and the reason why I want to make it really close is because I really want that high quality, crisp image. It just makes it look so polished and beautiful and professional. So we're going to export this and call it cropped. All right, now going back here, let's change this. We're going to upload it, our new photo, and I want to show you the difference just so that it's super clear how sizing can make a difference. So first we're going to go with the 50% sized image. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the watermark is gone. We know that our file is here because there's no watermark. Now we can reposition this. Now what's nice about the 50% option is you have the full photo to work with. I can scale it, reposition it, and that way I have more flexibility of where I want it to go. So let's say we're going to save it here. Now, one thing I want to pay attention to is the photo quality. It looks pretty good. It's a little pixelated. So let's see how the other file looks. We're going to go to our cropped one. So this should be at full max resolution, but it was cut off, right? So let's see what happens. Oh no. It didn't upload, which means maybe it's over 5 megabytes, which is weird. But it says, oh, it's like considered 5 megabytes. Just still a little too big, but that's no problem. We are going to crop it again. And this time we'll just do the edges. I want the rows to be front and center, so maybe this will do it. All right, now we'll go to export. And here's the thing, you don't need Photoshop to do this. You can use free software like GIMP or Canva. There's a lot of tools out there. This is just happens to be what I'm using, so there are options. Okay, so if we scale it back to 90%, it's 4.3. I'm still worried about losing resolution, so what is 95% gonna do? 4.8. Okay, let's hope it works. We're gonna export it as the same file because the other one didn't work, so let's replace it. Now let's go here, change the cover. Oh, it's probably still saving. Okay, let's try again. Ah, there it goes. Let's open it. Aha, see how it changed? And we got the percentage here. It's working. Amazing. Okay, so there's the difference. Now, which one is higher quality? That's super interesting. They're very similar. This one is a little bit more zoomed into the rows rather than having like, more of that high bird's eye view. I think I like that effect a little bit more, to be honest. And that's the thing, that feeling I just said, oh, that's really beautiful. That is literally you infusing that energy into your product. That feeling of, oh gosh, I love this. It's amazing. It's so helpful. People are gonna love it. Your customers are going to feel that. So enjoy the creative process. Take time to make it your own and allow those energies to come through because they will come through at the end of the day. All right, so here is our completed first mistake of our healing mistake recovery workbook. And overall, I'm really pleased with it. We've got clear headers. We've got some prompts for people to read. And if they feel inspired, they can actually write into here or print this out and journal it if they feel. So I feel like this is a really nice first step to the workbook. So what I'm going to do next is spend the rest of the time off camera to complete the rest of the workbook, and then we'll get into the next section of the video. Okay, and we're back. I now have all 7 of my pages in my workbook ready to go. One thing that I did is I took a nice page and I just copied each one, duplicated it, and filled it out with the different information that I generated with ChatGPT. And now I'm ready for my final page. So one of the most important elements about your freebie is you want to tell your audience what they can do next. So what's the next action that they can take to either get to know you, your work, maybe you offer another type of product that they can buy. Regardless, you don't want to leave them hanging. So make sure that you finish your freebie with some kind of wrap up, conclusion, and next step. So in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a conclusion page and tell them what they can do next. What I'm doing in ChatGPT is telling the prompt to create a conclusion page that points to my upsell offer. So in this case, I want to point my healers to the class, an online school community that they can join so that they can continue to upgrade their practice, work with other healers, and learn other techniques in more detail that was shown within the freebie. So I put in this prompt. I gave the link to the landing page of what my next step will be, as you can see here. And then I just told ChatGPT to make some content. So what I'm going to do is copy all of this information. We're going to change this. I am going to delete everything here and put in this. Actually, I'm going to change this. All right, let's get rid of the ChatGPT fluff because we don't need that. All right, so we're giving them some insights in what they can do next. And this link goes to my upsell, which is the healers class. And I want to really emphasize this, so let's really call it out with blue and make it really big. Let's make this a call out as well. Let's edit it so it's really obvious. And we can do this with the other sections as well. And one thing that I really like, especially if I'm doing a freebie upsell, is I want to make sure I put something in that makes it really clear what it is. And so I'm going to add an image. We're going to upload a file, one of the mock-ups that I have. And then let's actually move this. Oops. Let's take all of this and move it down below here. There we go. Clean this up a little bit. All right, and I do want to change my cover. This will give an indication of what's to come. And I can always clean this up, but basically I just want to make it super clear what we're doing. In fact, I might even want to do this one. And think about it. You are essentially making an advertisement for your products and services. So you really want to spend time making this compelling and beautiful and getting them excited about what's to come, okay? So we're going to spend some time really looking at this in more detail. And I think I actually liked the other one more. So we're going to just go back to the other one because I really want to emphasize this specifically. Actually, yeah, there's one other photo I want to add. This is why it's important to have all of your stuff in one spot. So here's the thing that you might want to consider is how you want to present your information. So here I don't have a price tag, whereas here I do have a price tag. I'm curious to see what my audience will prefer to see, but regardless, I think I like the information this portrays more. It seems like there's more details about what's inside. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and that way it's super clear what is to come next. In fact, now that I see this here, this is what I want. There we go. You can see all of them are joined together. In fact, I think I like both images now that I think about it. So we're gonna add both. Why not? There's a lot of ways that you can optimize your conclusion page, but regardless, you're gonna want to essentially advertise what is to come next. So this is worth spending time and money on, energy, because, well, this is what your freebie is all about, to get them interested in your products, your services, and what's next now that they have consumed your freebie. Now, there's one other important step that we have to do for our freebie, and that is to create our main image that we can put on social media, that we can put on our cover page here, that will beautifully bring in the energy of what this is all about. So we're going to next go into Canva and make a cover page for this entire program. Similar to my other freebies, you can see here it has the title, Create Your Course with AI, your Instagram content planner. You want the title of the workbook, or in this case, my workbook freebie, to be very clear about what this is all about. So in Canva, I have gone out of my way to purchase a lot of different types of templates and specific formats that I really love to work with. And what you can do is just create something from scratch. Canva gives you a lot of really beautiful templates to work with, especially if you search their library. Just to give you a view of what this could be like, there are so many beautiful workbooks and advertising images that you can literally just copy and paste and create from the beginning, which is really cool. In my case, I'm going to go to my templates that I already have, because there's one template that I really love. It's widescreen and it just has some really beautiful imaging, text, and fonts that I love. I'm just going to make a copy of that. So I save my template, and this is a copy of a copy. So we're going to rename it cover 4. Now, all I'm trying to do here is to make an image that can go here and also that I can use on my social media, okay? So first, I want to just get a sense of what this image will look like if I put it in Notion, because like we did before, I have to make sure that it will fit in the landscape view. So we're going to take a screenshot, upload the test, just get a sense of what it will look like. So what I can see is this title here actually fits pretty well. It's clear, it's legible, there's a beautiful image. And so I think what I'm going to do is pretty much just keep this the same, okay? I don't need this and I don't need that. But first what we're going to do is rename this so it fits our workbook, okay? So we're going to go back to ChatGPT and say, I'm going to make the cover image for the workbook, and I don't want it to be exactly the same as the title, which is the Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook, but I need 2 words that will fit in the image of the frame of the workbook. So please generate a list of 2 words that will capture the essence of what the workbook is about, but keep it to only 2 words. All right, so we're gonna put that into ChatGPT. Let's see what happens. It's so much fun just to see what comes out. I love it. Okay, we got 2 word phrases. Amazing. Healing integrity, healer's reset. Ooh, I like the healer's reset. Healer's audit. We did talk about audit a lot. Mystical hygiene, power recovery. There's a lot of really good words here. I really like healer's audit. I kept going back and forth about, should I use the word audit? Should I not? But this is actually a great way where I can use that word without worrying about it. And I want to center this. I like this font. I think it's very nice. And I'm going to need to think of it or use a different image because I actually used this image in another product and I want it to look and feel different. And since we are working with healers and that healing energy, I'm going to go back to DepositPhotos. And I think there's actually some really nice, beautiful images that I might already have that I can use here. So let me let's upload a new photo or file from my computer because I have a bunch of files already from DepositPhotos that I think will go really nicely here. So I'm thinking like healing energy, herbs, like magical, mystical things. Ooh, that one's really nice. I like that one. Just has that vibe of like nature and healing and beauty. Because again, I want it to be really beautiful. That one's really nice. And also, I just love bottles. What can I say? I'm an alchemist. I love herbs and bottles. So it often goes on my products everywhere. All right, so we're going to upload that. I think that's just beautiful in many ways. We're going to wait for it to go. Once the animation is complete, we'll know that the photo's uploaded, but actually we can just pop it in right now. It'll be a little blurry. Okay, there it goes. Nice. Now looking at our colors here, I like to take colors from the image that I use just so it's a little bit more on brand. And in this case, there's this really lovely purple color that I'm gonna try to take. Let's see if it'll work. So I click here, click the little eyedropper, and then I can zoom in and just pick one of the colors I really like. I'm trying to highlight the font color in a different way. I really like these deep purple plums and eggplant colors. Let's see, it's very dark, which I like, but I wanted a little bit more purple. So let's do it again, maybe something a little brighter. Let's try that just to see. Nope, I think it's a little too bright. So let's go deeper plum again. And there's so many colors to choose from, obviously. That's nice. And then this background color, I'd like to pick colors from the photo as well. This one is quite dark in photo, so I think a nice contrast would be good. It's a little too much. Maybe something lighter. And this is where you can spend so much time in Canva having fun and again, infusing that energy into your work in a way that you just really, really love. I like this warm color. I think that's really nice. And let's see if I can make this, maybe we'll change the font. I kind of want like a more bold, it's a little too bold. This one's pretty elegant. Maybe we can make it bigger. The Healer's Audit. Maybe like, let me go back to ChatGPT. Okay, let's give this a try. I was just debating whether or not to change this title. Now, let's go ahead and try that. So we are going to export this by clicking download. This document is huge, so we definitely just want to take the first page. It will come out as, we want it to be a PNG. So let's change that, PNG. Let's download it. Whether or not to change the font to a different color. Again, this is where it can just be so fun. It does give a totally different feel, huh? Well, one of the fun things is we can upload this as many times as we want and get it just right as much as we want. There it is. All right, so let's look at sizing. I did change it a little bit. The Healer's Audit, the Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook. And I do see the image nice and clear here, which is good. I like how it's kind of alchemical, apothecary-like. This is a little blurry though. I don't love that. And one of the things is it recommends that it's wider than 1500 pixels. So if we look at this, let's see. So it's 1900 pixels. Technically it is wider than 1500, and yet, oops. It's a little too blurry still. And not only that, I don't know about the word the. I think it kind of makes it not as clear. Because this is the Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook and this is the Healer's Audit. So maybe we should change this to something else. Okay, I want to re-change this. So we need 2 or 3 words maximum. So character limits are important, but I want it to be really clear and punchy and have a strong hook about what this is about, but make sure it's differentiated from the Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook. So give me a list of other words that I can put on the cover of my page. And I'm also going to show you another nice tip. You can take your cover, actually put it in ChatGPT. I've added my cover photo for a reference. So now the AI will know what I'm working with here. Okay, let's see. Recent Healing Tune-Up. Maybe the Healer's Tune-Up? Healing Tune-Up. Let's try that. So this is what it looks like now. Let's go back here. I think I did like the darker imagery. Maybe let's try this. Healing Tune-Up. Or maybe how about Tune Up Your Healing? Healer's Audit. Tune Up Your Healing. I wonder if there's other fonts that could work. That one's really chunky. It's amazing how just changing the font can really change the mood of the entire product, right? It's really cool. I think we're just gonna go back with our original one. Healing Tune-Up. And I might want to emphasize this. Maybe this is what I'll make. That's so interesting. It's so different, huh? It's a little too chunky. What do I think about that? The Healing Tune-Up. Interesting. Well, let's give it a try. Again, we want to make sure this is the inch. I'm going to make this bigger because actually we want the horizontal pixels to be more than 1500. I think that's why it was coming out blurry. To current page, download. I do like those eggplant undertones. I think it's nice. All right, that's downloaded. Let's upload. Just go back to this. Looks like it fits. It's a little big. Let's see. Let's reposition it. Not as blurry, but it's a little too big still. So the Healing Tune-Up, the Healing Mistake Recovery Workbook. It's not quite right yet. So let's go back. Here are the taglines. And title of the workbook. Oh, copied it right. There we go. I think I copied the whole thing. I don't want the whole thing. All right, we're gonna delete all that. Help me come up with a image tagline that doesn't repeat, but does give the essence and energy of what's included. Let's go back and add another file. I've attached the image for reference. All right, refine your practice, reclaim your power. I think this is a little better. Upgrade your practice, fix what's leaking, energy cleaner, clean energy, stronger sessions. So we've got this recovery workbook, right? The healing mistake recovery workbook. That's not so right. Let's talk it through. Okay, so since this is called the healing mistake recovery workbook, there's a certain vibe that goes with that. So create some brand aligned phrases that can go in the product image. Okay, let's see how it goes. There is this element of like repair, right? Repair, restore clarity, repair what's leaking, mistake recovery, mistakes that drain your power, repair the energy behind the practice. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, we're gonna work with that. Clearly that font does not work. So let's go back and let's just make it small. Hopefully it'll fit and be very clear. Okay, and if we look on Notion, it pretty much shows up right where this mortar and pestle are, and then at the top of these flowers. So that's basically the area I need to work with. So this is way too high. I want it to probably be here. And then how far right does it go? Not very much. So we might actually want to make this more like this. Another thing you can do is add effects to really make the words pop. So we can lift them, we can do drop shadow, outline. I wonder what would happen if we just outline in the same color. Wow, it's so different. It's so interesting. Okay, let's not do that. There's lift. Super interesting, huh? You can just have a lot of fun playing with all of this. Maybe we'll try lift. Give it a little bit of intensity, not too much, just a little. I just want to make sure it's clear because this font is really subtle and I do think that's nice, but it also should be very clear and legible. Okay, we're gonna download that. There it is. Let's change our cover. I don't bother with naming things and saving them until I find the exact right one that I want. Oh, you know what? I forgot to change the size. It's a little too blurry. So, but it's looking good. I think I like that. But let's go back and then try this again. So we have to download, make sure it's a PNG. We're gonna just do the current page and let's make it really wide. Why don't we do max? Why not? Let's see what happens when we maximize it. Oh, I don't think it's downloaded. Yep, there it is. Okay, upload. Uh-oh, it's too big. There's that limitation of 5 megabytes. Okay, we'll be more reasonable. We actually did have some good results before, so we'll just do that. Current page, and we'll increase it to 18. I think we did this last time, and that worked well. Oh yeah, you can see instantly it's easier to see and read. It's not like super 100% crisp, but it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So we'll want to put it roughly in the middle. And then now we have pretty much our logo for this product, and our workbook is now complete. So there you have it. I created a brand new freebie that didn't exist in an afternoon. And personally, I feel like the quality of this freebie is definitely good enough to give to someone in exchange for their email address. And not only that, I had so much fun building it alongside with you and showing you every step of the way so that you can really see what it takes to create a high quality product without a ton of effort, but still enough of your attention and energy to warrant a really high quality exchange with your audience. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd love to hear what really stood out to you. I'm constantly looking to see what my audience resonates with, and I love making these behind the scenes videos. So let me know what's of interest to you guys, and I'll be sure to help out. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!